Hi, everyone. I'm Anita Sharma. Welcome to Market Call tonight. Our guest, Jaime Carrasco. He is the portfolio manager at Canaccord Genuity, taking your calls, emails, and tweets on North American equities. Our number toll-free, 1-855-326-6266. Our email address, marketcall@bnnbloomberg.ca. Our Twitter handle, @MarketCall. Jaime, you're good luck for stocks. What's going on? We had a couple of tumultuous days, and today we saw some serious upward momentum. The U.S. Fed, yet again, stealing the spotlight.
Well, it wasn't the U.S. Fed or the decline in interest rates. Volatility has to be expected. I've been saying that since last fall,
right,
when I became a little bit more conservative. Now, the cash that I had, that I did raise, I have put it into convertible bonds. So
okay.
I'm quite happy sitting there. And I think going forward, it's important to understand asset allocation, not to be 100% in equities, but also have some bonds, have some cash, and have some precious metals.
You want to hedge against all this volatility that we're experiencing?
I think it's important because one of the things, everybody's focusing just on the market, right, but let's look around what's going on around us. Mm-hmm. Global PMIs came out today, and the global economy continues to come down, to slow down. You had the elections in Europe about 2 weeks ago, and what happened was, just like with the Trump election, you have that populist wave that continues to play out. People are tired of the political status quo, and they're selecting other choices. In a way, I've always said that history offers quite a lot of parallels, and the 30s is very similar to what's going on today. You had terrors, you had political shift, you have wars, you have economic turmoil. Everything's replaying, and I think at the top of it all is the fact that that we are witnessing a geopolitical shift, and to some extent, Trump is driving that. Look at what he's doing in the UK right now, saying, "Oh, we'll do our trade deals with the UK if you guys." But you got to leave the EU first. What he's doing to China, what he's doing with Mexico. Mm-hmm. You know, everything's about tariffs. Everything's about it seems to me as though that oil, the global economic system that we had set up over the last 30, 40 years is definitely starting to change. And to some extent, I think that is the reflection of the fact that the current system just isn't working anymore. And I continue to argue that it's not working similarly to the 30s because the currency reserve itself needs to change, and a lot of people are starting to talk about that. They're saying, yeah, that some kind of a monetary adjustment needs to occur. The question is when. They're never going to tell us. I think all we can do is prepare for that.
All right.
And because of that, that is what I'm doing through asset allocation with clients in terms of how to position money to be a little bit more conservative and a little bit more aware of the volatility.
And part of the conservatism is, if you will, comes from the fact that you're upping your ante with respect to your holding in precious metals. The norm, if you are invested in gold, usually tends to be 5 to below 10%. You are now advising your clients to keep about 15% in precious metals. Is the bulk of that in gold, Jaime?
No, it's in the producers.
Okay.
In the producers. I think that the producers is the better play than physical gold. I see gold no different than holding U.S. dollars, holding Canadian dollars, or any other currency.
Okay.
To me, the speculation is in the companies because that's where you're going to get the leverage. Actually, when it comes to precious metals, that is the standard. That's what they say. They should have at least 5%. But the reality is nobody has any. And Western investors don't have any participation in the sector. It's almost nil. I don't think any Canadian pension fund has any. So because of that, I think at some point that light is going to come on, and I'd rather be positioned in an overweight in an overweight position so that to benefit when the money really starts coming in. And we are starting to see it. If you look at Bridgewater, the world's biggest hedge fund, they've added to their gold positions in Q1, it was announced. And I love Ray Dalio's quote that, you know, if you don't own gold, you don't know history or economics. And gold is part of the monetary system.
He's been going back and forth, right? Ray Dalio, the billionaire founder of Bridgewater. A few years ago, he started sounding the bells with respect to this is going to get really, really bad. He said it's going to be worse than the Depression, the Great Depression, but in a different way. He then backed off those comments, but here we are again where he says this volatility, this drama that we're seeing play out, it's going to last through his lifetime, through his career as a hedge fund manager and owner.
I would agree with that. You know, if I look at things from a historical perspective, I'm looking at the puzzles, how they're shaping up. And one of the things to understand is that when this change really starts to take place, it's never coming back. I think to some extent having a new currency reserve or having an alternative currency reserve by which we all trade is needed. And I personally think that when I look at the puzzle, how it's shaping up, it's going to be bipolar. It's going to be the Asians are going to be using their own thing. Like the Malaysian president said that they needed a gold-backed currency just on Tuesday, I think, sorry, on Thursday last week. So everybody's talking about we need a sound money, but it'll be regional because I think the U.S. and the U.S. dollar will be there. Europe, I don't know what they're going to do because that's a different mess. And then you have Asia that's working under under China.
All right. And we have our viewers. We know they're waiting to speak to you, Jaime. They want to pick your brain with respect to if you're bullish on gold, you're bullish on gold companies, which ones to get into along a whole host of sectors. We're with Jaime Carrasco, portfolio manager at Canaccord Genuity, discussing North American equities. Our number, 1-855-326-6266. Welcome back. We are with Jaime Carrasco. Now we get to flush out the gold chat even more. Again, like I said before the break, you put your money where your mouth is. A lot of folks aren't bullish on the companies. They want to buy spot gold, the bullion itself. But this is paying off for you. Franco-Nevada up 15% theoretically if you were to purchase this last August.
I've owned it for the longest time. If you bring up the long-term chart of Franco.
What would you like, a 5 or 10
5 years is fine. This is, let me back up a bit. Let's talk about how I choose the gold companies, because I think you have to be, this is where the stock picking I learned at Merrill Lynch back in the late 80s really is kicking in. Now, 4 main criteria: good solid management, will bring good solid management, low cost of production, reserves on the ground, and in geopolitically important where the properties are, because you don't want, you know, if in Russia, are you gonna trust it to be there, right? Now, Franco-Nevada is not a producer; it's the first royalty to be formed, right? So this is the one company that I put in everybody's account. It has a dividend, and that dividend has been increasing slowly, but it's set to increase with the price of the commodities coming up. It's also not 100% gold; it's also silver, copper, oil, so it has...
You got a bit of diversification in there.
That's right. So that's why I have this as one of the most conservative stalwart. Now, over the last 3 or 4 years, as I've held on to my positions, asset allocation, and when we did this call, I think it was a year ago, that's when I went up to 15%. That's why I had these 3. Those were the ones that that came out, and Franco-Nevada, I really would recommend it to anybody as part of that small percentage.
What about Detour Gold? This one theoretically up 20%. Are you still in this holding?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm also, you know, it's funny because both of the next companies, there's some really serious money coming into them. So one of the things that I like about the sector is that in a very, very muted way, let's say stealth, serious money is coming in. And with this one, it's Hank Paulson, I think it is. It's one of the big Wall Street players who forced a management shakeout. And he's pretty well building a position now. Again, this is a low-cost producer in Canada, with I guess in terms of Paulson's attitude, it wasn't the best of management. But again, it's solid assets with big reserves on the ground, and it's nice to see that the recognition by some of Wall Street's smartest coming in and assisting in supporting the stocks.
All right, so what puts a dent in your overall performance as far as these 3 stocks are concerned? Is America, silver? Here you're off about 17%. First question, do you still hold this? Second question, what happened?
Okay, first of all, yes, I still hold it. More importantly, within the composition of the companies themselves, I actually added this at a very low prices, because one of the things I've been doing is taking profits and rolling them over. So maintaining those same percentages, like asset allocation with the overall portfolio, I also do it with my companies. So one of the companies that I did take money off was Franco-Nevada. Kirkland Lake is another one that my average cost is about $6, and it's sitting at $45 now. So
you're playing with house money now.
So exactly, and because of that, I'd like to keep Kirkland Lake at about 7% overweight within the composition. So as soon as it jumps too much, I take money out and I keep buying into this. Now, America Silver, I still have it. I love the management. Keep an eye out on this company, because what these guys is about management, first of all. And the execution that management has had has been unbelievable. This is the only junior that actually purchased a company in this last go-around. Right now, there are low-cost silver producers. Some people say that they're a base metal producer, but they just bought Pershing Gold in the U.S. Now, what happened on the decline was they got caught in the shutdown of the government in December.
Right.
Remember when the government shut down?
Government shut down.
Well, they were awaiting the permits to do the purchase of Pershing. That took a bit too long.
So that delay hit them.
And it delayed. However, what's come out of that is Pierre Lassonde, one of Canada's top mine builders, is now their second biggest shareholder because he was a big shareholder of Pershing. He realized the management team that's behind it, and Sandstorm is now also the biggest shareholder, one of the big royalty companies. So I think this company going forward will continue to acquire and grow through acquisition. The cost of production is like negative right now, so it's actually one that I'm very, very bullish on, and it is my personal biggest position within the sector.
Okay, brilliant. Jaime, thank you so much for that. Let's take another break here on Market Call tonight. You're watching BNN Bloomberg. We are getting to your calls next. Our number 1-855-326-6266. This up where we started, a gold conversation. Paul from Halifax is focused on this. Hey, Paul.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. My question is, I can recall when gold was like 1,400 an ounce back in late 11, and then I recall seeing Jamie pounding the table going, hey, like the gold's not there, and all the big producers have now failed miserably, like Gold Corp, Barrick, and, they were all up there high, but why is it not now that gold's at 1330, and they're still kind of stuck in the penalty box? Could you answer that, please?
I can.
Thank you.
I can. Can you guys bring up a comparative chart of Kirkland Lake and Gold Corp?
Okay.
Or Agnico Eagle and Barrick? Either one of those two.
Just give us a second, we'll get that up.
Now, first of all, yes, the gold producers are nowhere near where they've come down in a massive way because nobody's coming into the sector. There's no money coming into the sector.
We'll start with spot, or there's gold futures, yeah.
However, I think it's important to understand that right now that's the opportunity. The opportunity is that gold companies are not reflecting price of profitability at 1,300 or 1,800 Canadian.
Right.
Right. So if you look at a company like Agnico Eagle, I think it offers quite a lot of entry right now in very little risk because they're producing about 650 Canadian, and we're sitting at 1,800. So that's why Agnico continues to move. Now that's the point. This is what I wanted to point out, that it has been about stock picking. So if you look at Kirkland Lake versus Gold Corp, you look at Agnico. Agnico was $22 in 2015. Now it's sitting at 55. Kirkland Lake, same thing. So it has been about good, solid stock picking. So those four choices really do sort out what's good. To me, Barrick and Gold Corp, I don't look at them because to me they're like IBM versus Microsoft circa 95. I'd rather have written Microsoft than those guys. They will make money when we get back above 1350, but until then you're playing a waiting game.
Okay, and we're not waiting any longer for our next break. Your top picks are next. He's Jaime. I'm Anita. Stay tuned. All right, top picks time. Charlotte's Web and Halo Labs. You like these both for what reason?
Okay, let's. Having moved over to Canaccord, they've been the leader in the cannabis sector, and I find that sector amazing. Now, having been at Scotiabank, nobody wanted to look at the growers and this whole industry. It's legal. Right. However, so I've missed the growing phase. Okay. But these guys are extractors. What I've noticed is that this is the bottleneck. So what's happening is that the food business wants to come in, the pharmaceutical industry wants to come in, and what they need is the oil that has been extracted with either CBD or THC. Both of these guys are CBD. Charlotte's Web, I would highly recommend anybody to do the documentary, Charlotte's Web CNN documentary, to understand what they do, because it's CBD oil that actually works for medical purposes. And that, to me, is they're going after that whole opiate industry in the U.S. that really needs some cleansing, it seems to me. Now, Charlotte's Web, they've just crossed 80 million in earnings. Both of these companies, their earnings trend has just begun.
Okay.
So no matter what happens to the market as a whole, I see it more like alcohol in the 30s when prohibition was over. So there's room to grow. On the other side as well, because it's food, medical, and a lot of other industries coming in, there's way more earnings growth to be had.
Okay, let's round this out with Metalla royalty and streaming.
Metalla is a new addition for me. I switched most of my silver wheaton into it. It's a new up-and-coming royalty. Now, what's happening, these guys have financed quite a lot of projects. Those projects are starting to kick in, so the dividends have kicked in. So from this, we should get good, solid dividend growth as all of those different projects around the world, all of those mines are started up and then they get paid, but also capital gains going forward as the price of gold and silver move. So this was my replacement for silver wheaton within the portfolio, because silver wheaton will not grow its dividend anymore. They're at that stage where they're just pay out as the mines that they have financed will continue to pay. This is an early silver wheaton that's just growing its trend. I particularly like management. I got involved early on at the IPO because I liked the people that were coming in, some serious money, Alan Day, and some really good people that were investing in it. The last money raise they did at 80 cents, that's when I got involved with clients in the portfolio.
Okay, brilliant. Jaime, we covered a lot of spaces today, especially admirable, given that we had no computer data. Again, email us if there is some data that you want to have fleshed out for you. Always a pleasure to see you, sir.
It was great. Thank you for having me back.
It's always great. Thanks, Jaime. I'm Anita Sharma on behalf of the Control Room. Have a great evening, but don't forget, consult a qualified financial advisor before you execute any trading decisions.